we going? Yeah, so sorry, my phone just went a bit flat then, but looks like the police have got some of the crane. Pretty small from here, but you know, see how it goes. Yeah. My name's Max, and yeah, I'm here in the port of Botany, as you can see behind me. And yeah, I'm here taking action as part of this Blockade Australia mobilisation, where people have been using their bodies and various pieces of equipment to shut down a major Australian artery. And yeah, we're doing this in response to Australia and its efforts to block action on the climate crisis, which threatens all life on Earth. Yeah, you know, we are taking this sort of action, or I'm taking this sort of action because I have almost no faith, or I think that that there is no way for Australia to change its exploitative practices. You know, I don't think that it is going to change its position from one of total climate denial with a little bit of greenwashing on the edge. And yeah, I think it's up to everyday people who can see the writing on the wall with this crisis, can see that major disasters are starting to overlap, and can see that the response from governments at all levels, from all sides, is worse than inadequate. It's totally negligent, and that we need people to start to take the sort of direct action that makes state climate denial less possible, because there's so many people out there putting their bodies in the way of this machine. Yeah, it's something that I guess I enjoy doing this stuff. It's not something that gives me a huge amount of pleasure, but it's something that I think, and that the position that Blockade Australia has is that there is no meaningful avenue for change built into the Australian system. It is like a car racing down a hill with no brakes. It was designed to grow exponentially as fast as possible, not to go be able to adapt to crises. And we can see that when Australia is confronting crises, it fails. It doesn't have the capacity to respond to the world that it is creating. It is simultaneously fanning the flames of climate collapse by expanding its exploitation of this world, whilst also failing to deal with the obvious and predictable climate and environmental response to decades and centuries of exploitation. I'm taking this action here at this mobilisation, you know, to make it clear that, you know, normal people, you know, who are concerned about this crisis can do something. You know, we are not beholden to waiting for the right political party to come along or waiting for some magical court case that suddenly wipes away 250 years of shitty laws and practices. You know, we need physical resistance because physical resistance can't be blocked. You know, systems like Australia cannot deal with mass disobedience. They will be forced to the table, and we will force them to the table if enough of us take it on that this is a matter of life and death, and that we cannot fail. Yeah, you know, that is not something that, yeah, that, you know, I guess there's not, you know, we're at a point in the climate crisis scenario where the warnings have been ignored, and the suggestions from people with knowledge have been pushed down and marginalised, and now we are facing a really stark choice. You know, to continue on blindly as we are, pretending that everything is okay, or to make serious and quite radical change quickly to the way we live our lives, so that we can prioritise protecting what is left of life on this planet. And that is what we need. That is the sort of system we need. We need one that is prioritising minimising human impact on the world, not prioritising maximising the exploitation of the planet. This is not, you know, this is not something, this crisis, this climate chaos is not something that can be addressed with, you know, a couple of new green electric cars, or a few solar panels on your roof, or by necessarily growing your own veggies. This is something that needs to happen at a whole of society level. If most people in society are just going to carry on doing what they're doing because the laws and regulations encourage them to, you know, to as rapidly as possible suck up the remaining resources on this continent, then we are going to fall off those, you know, that precipice. You know, we're going to pass the climate tipping points and get to a stage where the environmental crises, where the social crises, when the frequency of disease becomes so great that, you know, huge swathes of people start dying. And you know, this, you know, it is on people who live in this society, who live in the minority or developed world, where, you know, those societies that set up this global economic system, it is on us to stand up and take and organise a resistance against the state-sponsored destruction of this planet. In June this year, we're going to be having mobilisation in Sydney, and we're calling on people who have come to the uncomfortable acknowledgement that incremental change is not happening. In fact, we are going the other way, and that we need to be calling for much more significant change. You know, that is something that, yeah, we're calling all those people to start to prepare yourselves and start to gather your communities and to come and meet us in June this year, where we shut down the biggest and most important city on this continent, the place where Australia was founded. This city here, Sydney, is the most big economic and political site on this continent, and that's why Australia is going to try and shut down in June. And following that, we are going to build up to bigger and more powerful period of resistance, and we are and yeah, I mean, you know, I guess I've been someone who's been involved in, you know, the politics of climate change since I was a very young person, and yeah, you know, there aren't, you know, the pathways to change are very difficult to find. You know, we're not taught about how power works in this society. We're not taught about how to actually make change if your government has got tyrannical and is pursuing an agenda of climate destruction. You know, it is understandable that people are struggling to come to a sort of position where they can act meaningfully on this issue, but that, yeah, I guess that doesn't, you know, when we're faced with these sort of crises, we need to look at the way that, you know, people in, you know, politically oppressed situations around the world act, and they, you know, they don't petition their warmongering leaders. You know, they don't go out and ask them or give them flowers or anything like that. They go out and they block the roads and they shut down their ports and they get in the way of the economic function of those states, and they force them to come to a position that is reasonable for the people, or they force them out of power. And that is the reality of the problem we face. We need to fundamentally change the way that resources are managed on this continent and around the world, and that is going to take, you know, a movement that is bigger than anything we have seen in the last couple of centuries, you know. But the alternative of not acting means that organisations like Australia can just simply continue on with their program. They will continue opening new mines. They will continue pillaging the last fish out of the ocean. They will dam all the rivers. They will cut down all the forests until there is nothing left. And then we will be sitting there going, oh shit, I wish we'd done something about that when there was an opportunity. I wish we'd started organising a resistance before the power structures became so willing to use violence that they can just shoot us all in the street, because that is where we're going. You know, a situation of diminishing global resources and highly militarized and a highly militarized state will mean a very small handful of people having access to all the resources and everybody else having access to virtually none. That is what is going to happen if we don't manage to have serious political change. This society, this system, the Australian system, is not built to catastrophic crises. It is designed to maximise the exploitation, to push people down who dare to stand against the dominant program that is being rolled out by a combination of the rich, the politicians, the courts, and the media. You know, we are up against a pretty powerful and determined group of people who know how they got power and are very determined to keep it. And the only way we are going to deal with this crisis is if the people concerned about the crisis take it as seriously as the people who are actively working to make sure it is not addressed. Because addressing the climate crisis and preventing the coming collapse means serious change. And serious change in the way society is run means that that small group of people who is currently in control is going to have less power, and those people are not going to willingly step down and set aside their position of authority because they have been selected to maintain that role and maintain that system. Yeah, like have a little look at this crane again. It's pretty good. It'll be a pretty interesting machine to get this on, but maybe they can. Yeah. You know, I guess that's kind of, you know, sitting up here, I don't know how high I am, 40 or 50 meters in the air. You know, it's a pretty isolating experience. You know, and I guess it's somewhat similar to taking a position that this society, you know, kind of an absolute position that this society is at odds with a livable future, and that is a difficult thing to acknowledge in yourself, because once you've done that, you have to take action, because I guess the only other option is to curl up into a ball and just hope that it goes away. And this crisis is not going away. It's going to continue to get worse, and it's going to make you know, the prospect of a safe future pretty much impossible. And yeah, that's not, you know, it's like, you know, this is not, you know, taking part in organised resistance is not impossible. It's been done heaps of times all over the world, and it's been happening a lot in recent years. You know, you see people in India, you know, going out and blockading, you know, the roads in Delhi for months, you know, fund whatever it is, and they end up with money. You know, that's not the and unsure like what happens to most people who set out trying to do a good thing and get corrupted by this system. You know, they get chewed up and spat out and turned into a the phone got a little bit wet in the last storm, so it might be a little crappy. But yeah, I guess, you know, I'm taking this in today, you know, to try and encourage other people to take this, you know, to take it just this on as they deal with. You know, this is all of our crisis. You know, this is something that we all need to deal with as a society. You know, we can't just sit back and hope that someone else is going to do something. We need to act, and we need to do it, and we need to act decisively now. And that's what Blockade Australia is doing. You know, we are calling on people to, you know, to take some serious time off and to come to Sydney in June to, you know, and to put their body on the line, you know, because their body's on the line anyway. There is no hiding from the climate. There is no hiding from climate collapse. It's coming for all of us. It will come, and it'll come for the people at the top too who are blocking change. But you know, like, that's not the way they think. You know, they don't think that, oh, maybe I should have a bit less now so that we can have a bit more later. That's not the way we are programmed in this society. We are taught that we need to compete with each other and that we need to fight for the scraps, and that somehow that's going to build a better world. You know, oh shit, brain. So what's happening down there? So they've got a brain trap thing. You know, may or may not get here, but just going to put the phone in Casey's in for a second while I do some moving around. Hopefully you can all still see what's going on.